What's going on, everyone? Welcome to another edition of the 49 Carats Prospect Spotlight, where you get a chance to learn more about NFL draft hopefuls. I'm Steph Sanchez, and I'm excited to be joined by another Shrine Bowl participant, Combine participant, 49ers 30 visit, Texas Tech tight end, Jalin Conyers. Jalin, how you doing, man?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm great. All right, so Jalin, I usually start these interviews with a little fun rapid fire, 5 questions just to get the juices flowing. So first thing that comes to mind, you just let it out, all right?
Okay, sounds good.
All right, PlayStation or Xbox?
Xbox.
Are you a morning person or a night owl?
Night owl.
Favorite cheat day meal?
Uh, a Pizza Hut, pork sausage, stuffed crust pizza with extra pork sausage.
Woo, that was very specific. I like
I
it.
know. I knew exactly what I wanted.
If you could jersey swap with any player in the NFL, who would it be?
Right now, probably Mark Perry.
Okay, that's a good one. Any pregame rituals or superstitions?
Um, I have to juggle before every game. That's kind of like I'd say my routine. Superstition wise, probably I have to listen to like the same 3 songs before I go out in the field, like the same 3 every time.
In the same order?
Yeah, but that's the thing. Like they'll change. So like I'll have a new 3 like every week. So it'll be like I'll write them down in my notes. Like I'll have 3 this week, and the next week will be a new 3, and I just mix match them. So, but it has to be the same. Like it has to be the same order every single time.
All right. Now, do you listen to those while you're juggling?
So, sometimes it depends. Like on the time. Like sometimes I'm juggling on the field. Sometimes I'm in the locker room. So it just depends.
Okay, now explain the juggling. Like, when did that start? Is that just to kind of calm your nerves a little bit, get you locked in?
Yeah, kind of like I started doing it in high school. When I used to play quarterback, that's kind of when I was like, I was like, oh well, I got to get way better at this. So I actually did get really good at it, and now I can do it like really well. And it's honestly just kind of helped me calm down, gets me relaxed, helps my eyes get going. So it's kind of always been something I've worked on.
Nice. I like that. Well, let's get to the serious questions here, Jalin. So, your college career brought you to a number of stops. Had 1 season at Oklahoma, your freshman year, 3 seasons at Arizona State, then finally ending your career as a Red Raider at Texas Tech. So walk me through that journey a bit and how every stop was necessary to making you the player you are today.
Yeah, I mean, I started at Oklahoma. Lincoln Riley recruited me. Really good dude. Grew up around the same area, so he kind of knew a little bit about me, just kind of going into it where I grew up and stuff like that. I was going through COVID and stuff at the time. A lot of COVID rules and all that stuff was coming out. Ultimately, just ended up making a decision just to go somewhere else in order to play and have the best opportunity. So ended up going to Arizona State. Kind of had some up and down years. Obviously, the first year I was there. Got to play with Jaden Daniels, Ricky Pearsall, guys like that. Obviously got to learn under them. Then the next year after that, it's kind of when I had my break, started playing really well, kind of made a name for myself. Then that third year, kind of all over the place, played at a bunch of different positions, did a bunch of different things. So one of the crazy time, but obviously blessed to do it, and it was a great place. I appreciate everyone at Arizona State while I was there. And then my last year, wanted to come back home, playing for my family. You never know when football's going to be up, and I'd always wanted to be a Red Raider my whole life, growing up and being from where I'm from, and Texas Tech being my dream school as a kid. So I ended up coming back home, got to play my last year, and enjoyed the heck out of it. Loved it. Family was at all my games, so had a great time being a Red Raider, and I'll forever be grateful that Coach McGuire, Coach Cochran, and all them let me come back home and let me play for them. So had a great time. Crazy college career, wild college career, but it was fun and. Had a good time.
Yeah, that's awesome. And, it seems like you have no regrets and no reason to have any regrets, right? So was there a year in college where you felt like, the game started to slow down for you and things started to click a little bit different?
Yeah, I think so. I think going into my third year total, but my second year at ASU, I kind of knew who I was kind of figuring out what my skill set was, where I could be used. And obviously, I kind of got off to a slow start. Wasn't a major part of the offense really until about really week 6 or week 7. We had a change in like offensive like calling plays, stuff like that. So that's kind of where it really came up. And I owe a lot to Coach Iguano at ASU. He was a running backs coach. He took over calling plays. What year was that? 22 or 23. So at that time, he kind of told me like, hey, we're gonna give you an opportunity. Like, you do really good stuff in practice. You've always caught the ball. We're gonna give you a shot. And I ended up, that first game he called plays, I ended up having like 3 touchdowns. Had a really good game. And that was kind of where it all kind of started. I kind of figured out who I was, got the feeling of really getting a lot of reps in the game, and ended up working out for me. So that's kind of where it all started.
Yeah, I mean, it definitely worked out for you. Now, I know for some players, they might say that film studies kind of what gets them to unlock that next level of their game where it starts to slow down for them. So walk me through your film study process. What are some things that, you're looking for in opponents to try to exploit?
Film study wise, for me, it's really about, just I think the number one thing obviously is like you want to be able to like tell what the defense is doing. Obviously everyone kind of plays a different defense. Everything kind of happens in a different way. Um, like you said, like scheme wise, front wise, you want to know how the backers play. You want to know how the safeties play and stuff like that. So I think that's really where it originally like starts for me, or just like the origin of it. And whoa, my screen just turned off.
Yeah, I lost you there, but I got your audio still.
What the heck? Where'd he go? Oh, sorry.
Oh, shoot. All right, I'll give him a second to come back. Technical difficulties. This happens sometimes. I appreciate all of you watching. Make sure you guys like this video. If you have not yet, if you're checking in on YouTube, if you're checking in on Twitter, hello. Yeah, we're gonna wait for Jalin to come back. He has the link, so I'm gonna give him a second here. Here we go. All right. Oh, those. We got you.
Yeah, I think so. I can hear you now. Sorry.
Yeah. Okay, cool. No, you're good.
Anyway, yeah, where was I? What was I saying? I don't remember what I was talking about.
Your film study process.
Yeah, so sorry. It's like originally, like I said, just start with the defense, obviously. You want to see what they're doing, see what the backers are doing, how they play, their front, stuff like that. And then for me, I like to start with the DNs. Obviously, that's kind of the guys we take care of. As a tight end, you want to go watch the DNs. You want to go see how they play, how they do things. And then usually, obviously, like after that, it's kind of get into the safeties, the back end of the defense, what coverages they play, who do they like to match up, and stuff like that. So I'd like to say, I wouldn't say I'm a nerd, but I definitely think one of the cooler parts about film is definitely breaking down an opponent in terms of especially like their weaknesses and stuff. Like I always like to, try and see like, do they open up way more than they're supposed to? Do they move their foot a certain way? Do they have any gives or tells? I think a part of that is like I've always watched like a lot of like poker for some reason, like growing up. So I've like always like known about tells and stuff like that. And like that's kind of cool. It kind of meshes, but it does like some people just are have habits and you can kind of find out and use them. Sure. So I think that's something I've kind of always like paid attention to and try and take into consideration.
So you mentioned, watching defensive ends and stuff, and obviously you have a responsibility there having to block those guys. So tell me a little bit about your mindset when it comes to blocking. Like what are you trying to accomplish?
Right. Well, I think the first thing is being willing to. I think for me, that was my biggest adjustment coming from, playing obviously receiver and quarterback to being a tight end. I don't think my physicality was ever a problem. I think it originally stemmed from like, dude, you gotta be willing to like just put your face in and make like, do it. And I think I finally started to pick that up kind of towards the like last 2 to 3 years of my career, where I was finally like, you know what, like, dude, like just you gotta be willing to do it. And I think after that part, that's where the physicality comes in. Yeah. And then I think for me, the more important thing is technique. Like obviously, the NFL DNs get paid a lot of money too. And like, I mean, shoot, what's his name just got paid a lot the other day. Yeah. I mean, obviously, so it's a big deal for us to be able to, not just, I guess really just for the quarterbacks and the coaches to have trust in us that we can do our job. And, a lot of coaches aren't going to ask us to block a all-pro DN like by ourselves. So, a lot of times it's help, it's combos with the tackle and stuff like that. So I think that's probably the most important part of it. Is just, being willing to and then letting the technique kind of take over from there.
You're right though. Like the willingness is like the first part of it, because there's some guys that do it because they have to, but not super willing, and that shows up on tape. Like
Yeah,
you
absolutely.
can usually tell. So, but let me tell you what I saw when I watched you, like as a whole. Like I see the versatility Texas Tech used you everywhere. And the basketball background jumps out. Like, I don't even think I knew that you had played basketball in high school when I started watching you, but like, just a few plays in, it's like, I think this guy watched basketball because, like, or played basketball. You can high point it, you have the body control, you can block out defenders, but you played a few other sports as well, like baseball, track. Like, I could see how all of those different skill sets from those sports could translate to football. How would you describe your game as a whole to somebody?
Yeah, I mean, kind of what you said. Like, I played so many sports growing up, did so many things as a kid. Just like, and I think like that's probably the number one thing is I was a basketball player in high school. I had a couple offers to play basketball in college, ended up picking football, but I think that's where a lot of it came from. Especially how I move and how I, can maneuver around. Like a lot of people do say that, like, yeah, your body control is insane. And I'm just kind of in my balance and stuff like that. And I'm like, it
Yeah.
really just kind of came from basketball. I mean, you're doing drills where you're hitting pads and you're trying to make a layup or you're posting up a defender. So I think that's kind of where it all came from. I think a lot of the ways I run routes too kind of comes that way. Like a lot of reps or a lot of routes you run like you're Euro stepping or you're kind of
Yeah.
hesitating. Like that's why, like, I watched a lot of Antonio Gates. That's kind of one of the guys I kind of try to look at. He was a big basketball guy. I think when you watch his tape, you see a lot of basketball in him as well. So I think that's kind of where it originally stemmed from. I've always been able to jump. It's kind of been my secret weapon, kind of my whole life. I've always been able to jump. I've always been able to go up and get the ball, rebound, whether it's a rebound or obviously catching a pass. So I think when I describe my game, I am like I'm a little hooper, but I got a little football player in me. I got some hooper in me. Got a little bit of golfer in me. Got a little bit of baseball, track. I got everything. So like I said, like I played quarterback in high school, so I can throw the ball. I've been really that definitely helps me out in terms of seeing coverages, knowing where the defender's supposed to be. Because you'd be surprised, like if you know it's this coverage, you know where the guys guarding you is supposed to be, so you know what
Right.
window to sit in, stuff like that. I wasn't even because like I wasn't even really a big like football guy, really. Like in high school, like obviously I played, but I didn't really get down to like the nitty gritty, knowing certain things until like later in my career. So now that I've kind of picked that up, I feel like my IQ's gotten higher, so it kind of just helps me out on the field as a player in general.
Yeah, I mean, I was going to ask you about that, like just being a former quarterback, how that helps your understanding and like feel of the game, like especially as a pass catcher, just knowing where you're supposed to be, the timing and spacing of it all, like because that's so important in offensive success. Like, have you had quarterbacks tell you, like, "Hey, man, like, how did you know like where to go?" Or like
Um,
the synergy of it?
Yeah, I think where it originally came from was with my old quarterback at ASU, Trenton Bourget. He's stupid smart, one of the smartest, probably the smartest football player I know, and he really we kind of clicked on the field like pretty easy. And I think it's just we both kind of knew like where to be, why, the reasoning and stuff. And I think I learned a lot from him. Um, for me, it slows everything down. Like football's a fast game. Like every play is like 6 seconds on average.
Right.
So it's one of those things where it happens fast. I think the biggest thing for me was being able to, you're like, because you kind of have to do a lot. Like you got to line up, you got to analyze what the defense is doing, you got to remember what your assignment is, you got to do, and then you got to do it to the best of your ability.
Yeah.
So I think for me, it slows everything down because as I'm going into it, like all I really need to know, like when I come out of the huddle, I'm like, all right, I know the play, know what it is. Then I line up and it's like, all right, let's look at the defense. Where am I going to be? Like on the corner route, the corner's dropping. Do you want to keep it higher? Do you want to bend it or not bend it? Do you want to, go flatter? No, you want to keep it high, obviously, if the corner's dropping, stuff like that, because it's going to open up your number one receiver. Because sometimes, like you do, like especially as a tight end, like you got to bite the bullet. Like sometimes the ball's not meant to come to you, and
Right.
sometimes you got to be a good teammate. So I think that was the biggest thing because I remember early in my career, I'd cut routes short, or I'd bend it when I'm not supposed to, or go in a different like window when you're not supposed to because you're trying to get the ball. I think that was the biggest thing for me, especially talking to Trenton and just getting older. Like you're not always supposed to get the ball, and it's not always meant for you. So sometimes you get, like you said, you got to bite the bullet and help your teammate out. And I think that's the biggest thing that kind of helped me in my IQ as well, just being able to know, like, all right, here's the whole concept. Here's my job. If I get the ball, great, but it's really supposed to go to this guy or open it up for this guy. So I think that was kind of the biggest thing. Like even talking to him and being a quarterback too. Like I remember when I was in high school, I tell a dude, like, why did you run it that deep? You know I can't do that. Like, you know, so I'm like, all right, like kind of makes sense. So it all kind of eventually clicked as I've gotten older.
Yeah, I mean, I like to think of football as like choreography, and like it all has to work at the timing of it again. Like it just all kind of has to work at the same time and for a reason, right? There's a reason that everything has to happen the way that it does. And you know, I know that film rules all, but throughout this process, you've had several opportunities to showcase more of your talents to NFL teams at the Shrine Bowl, Combine, even the Big 12 Pro Day. So let's talk about those experiences for a bit here. First, how did it feel to get those invites? All of them. They're
Yeah.
a lot.
I mean, for me, I mean, it's a blessing at the end of the day. You know, going into kind of really the end of the season, didn't really know where I was at, kind of didn't know where, you know, what the path was going to be. I ended up getting the Shrine Bowl. Was super excited about that. You know, my agent kind of told me, like, dude, it's your opportunity to go out. I hadn't got the Combine invite at that point, actually going into that week. So I kind of knew, like, all right, if I want to pop out on some eyes, like, this is the time to do it. Ended up having a really, really, really good week. Played really well. I think I kind of showed my ability. I think some people were kind of surprised by how well I did move. Like I remember talking to some of the guys on the defense, and they're like, "We did not expect you to like do that." Like they're like, "You move like a receiver, and you're 260." So it was a good feeling to be able to go out there and obviously just kind of, I feel like for me, prove like what type of player I was. So for me, that was awesome. Then a couple weeks, I want to say a week later, so somewhere around there, like I ended up getting the Combine invite. It was a little bit after the Shrine Bowl, but I ended up getting it. Ryan told me how huge that was for me, just in terms of, you know, I get to go out and showcase my ability and kind of prove some people wrong that may have had some doubts about my speed or how I move and stuff like that. I think I did pretty good job. Obviously, I think the Combine's kind of designed for you to, you know, perform under stress. So I don't think you're not really going to hit your best numbers. You kind of just want to be in that realm. And I think I did that. I kind of was, obviously you want to do better, but I think I was in a good spot in terms of the stuff I've been hitting and my averages and stuff. So I had a good combine, caught every ball. I think that was my biggest thing is I hate dropping the football. It's like my biggest pet peeve in the world. Like some people's biggest pet peeve, like everyone has different pet peeves. Mine is dropping a football. So, you know, that's something I try to work on, obviously. And that was my goal, was just don't go in and don't drop one ball. So I was able to accomplish that, which was nice. And then, yeah, like I said, went to the combine, went really well. Did well enough the combine to go to pro day and kind of just run routes, get moving a little bit, kind of show off more of my route ability and stuff like that, my blocking ability. Didn't really feel the need to run the 40 and nothing like that again. Obviously, I'd done it. So, yeah, I mean, it was an awesome experience. You get to be around a lot of good people. Obviously, get to meet a lot of cool coaches, scouts, stuff like that. And you obviously, like for me, I think there was 22 or 23 of us or something like that. And to be one of those 22 that is named or quote named whatever the best in the country is a blessing. It's humbling. It's awesome. It was a great opportunity. And at the end of the day, like I'm playing a little kid's game, and I get to be a small town kid that gets to go be a little kid in front of a lot of people. So it's a really cool opportunity. It was awesome. Had a good time.
Yeah, that's awesome. And I could see how like the Shrine Bowl kind of like helped put you on the map and set all this up for you, because like I saw some of the one-on-one tape of you cooking out there. You were speaking of like, you know, the hezzies and the Euro steps that come out and like route running, you were hitting dudes with some of that, and you know, you were getting open. How did it feel to like be able to go up against some guys that maybe you normally wouldn't, you know, within your own conference, and be able to have success in front of these NFL scouts?
I mean, it's a great feeling. I feel like it's just a testament to the coaches and just me just putting in work and, you know, obviously working on my craft. I think for me, my big, like it's not really a pet peeve, but it's just like, I mean, at the end of the day, like in those situations, like if it comes down to nitty gritty, like, can you win on your one-on-one? I think that's for me. Like, I think that's where I may stand out in front of the rest. Like, I think if you put me in a one-on-one situation, I'm going to come down with it 80% of the time. And like, you know, obviously you want to say 100%, but I mean, at the end of the day, you're playing against guys that are getting paid too. They're
Right.
doing,
Yes.
obviously they're going to make great plays. But for me, it's like, you know, if you can come down with 80%, you come down with it 80% of the time, like that's a great percentage, and they're going to throw you the ball a lot if you do that. So I think that's kind of where it stems from. I think it's just a lot of my competitiveness. And, you know, like I said, I can kind of pick up tells or, you know, kind of just see like how they move and how they bite. Like, you know, a lot of DBs, you know, they don't expect tight ends to run, you know, I want to say skillful routes, but routes with a double move or routes where, you know, there's a little more finesse on it compared to just being physical. Like,
Right.
obviously there's time for that, but I feel like one thing that I bring is being at my size, I can move very fluidly and can do a lot of different like movements and just in terms of my cutting or the way I cut back and stuff like that. So I think that's just, like you said, like kind of the basketball in me. I'm just kind of like sometimes you just got to imagine there's a basketball in your hand. You got to get by the guy instead of, you know, going and dunking it. You got to catch the ball. So I kind of try to think of it like that. You know, like I said, it's winning your one-on-one at the end of the day. But getting the opportunity to do it was amazing. And that was probably my biggest thing was like, all right, you're probably going to get 6 reps max to do this whole week. Why not win why not win every single one of them? You know, so I think that was just kind of my mindset going into it.
For sure. And like I said, I saw you won a fair share of them. And going back to the combine, you mentioned, you know, you hate dropping the ball. You had a smooth gauntlet, dude. Like you're showing those strong hands. One, you had to reach for. So, you know, in those high pressure moments to do that and show your skills and the strong hands. And I think was impressive. But you also mentioned like it's meant for you to be in this high stress environment, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I know they work you guys like throughout that week. Like they
Mm-hmm.
have you guys in meetings, like always having something to do, tired. You think that's
Right.
like that's kind of on purpose, right? So how do you
Yeah.
feel like dealing with that? You were able to excel in those conditions.
Yeah. I mean, I think everybody goes through stress in life, so I think it's definitely like it's kind of realistic. Like, you know, like kind of through a football like a game week, like you're not gonna be relaxed. You know, like
Yeah.
you're gonna have practice and meetings, and you got to prepare. So I mean, I think it's good. You know, I think it's obviously a good test. I think it's, you know, like you said, like you're like for me personally, like I was in the hospital doing a like all the med checks and stuff for 8 hours, you know, one day. So, you know, you're in there for a long time. And like that's you don't get time to go kind of do your training. Like it throws you off schedule. You
Right.
know, you can have a meeting at 11:30 at night or 12 at night with a team. So like I said, like yeah, they're trying. I mean, I don't necessarily want to say they're trying to throw you off, but I think it is like, you know, you gotta get to sleep, you gotta eat right, you gotta prioritize what's important. You know, so yeah, I mean, you're going through a bunch of meetings, a bunch of media, a bunch of, you know, just everything. And I think for me, I just try to remember like this is like I said, like it's a little kid's game. You're going out there, it's fun. Like there's no reason to stress. There's no reason to go out there and tense up. Like just go out there and do your best. Go have fun. I think that was for me. Like some people, I always remember watching the combine and looking and seeing how stressful it looks. And I remember
Mhm.
going into the combine thinking, you know what, you need to relax, have fun, smile, like be blessed about where you are, be happy about where you are, and just go do your best. And I think for me, that was what I was able to do. Like for me, like I didn't run the 40 time I wanted, but you know, like I don't know, like there's no point getting down on it when you have 8 to 10 more drills you could do, and you could literally do. Like for me, I knew I could do really well, especially like the gauntlet, the 3 cones, stuff like that. So I think I just had the right mentality. Thankfully, I think that's part of how I was raised and just the way I grew up. And I'm a competitor, and I'm determined to get to the league. That's what I want to do, and I knew
Yeah.
obviously the combine was a big part of it.
Well, I mean, it sounds like you're built for it, you know, just the fact that you weren't phased by any of that at all. And it just seems like this entire pre-draft process has been nothing but good to you. Like the last time I checked, you had a 9.24 RES score. So you've been able to show your athleticism, 6'4", 265 pounds, 81-inch wingspan. Like that's crazy. But again, like that's the one thing that will show up on tape over and over again. But now that pro day and all of that stuff is over, you're, I'm sure, getting back into football training. So what's a typical day of training looking like for you right now?
Yeah, just really wake up in the morning, you know, get a little breakfast, obviously, and then go work out. I go to the Texas Tech football facility. They've been gracious and been amazing of letting me just come back home and really just get to work out. I get to be around a lot of the guys and stuff. So I usually go lift, go do a little bit of conditioning, just run a little bit, and then sometimes on practice days, I'll go catch routes and like routes on air, like indie periods and stuff, just to get some like catch some catch the football and just kind of get that obviously that feeling. But that's really other than that. Other than that, if I'm not training, I'm usually watching a sport or I'm playing golf. So that's really the only things I really do while I'm back in Lubbock. So it's not much to do in Lubbock. For anyone that's ever been here, it's not much to do. So just try to make the best of it for sure.
Awesome. And I know through this process as well, you've had the chance to meet with a lot of teams. So what's the feedback that you're hearing from them in terms of what they like about you, maybe what they want to see more of?
Yeah, I think it's really just about like they want to see consistency. Obviously, when you go look in terms of production, it's kind of up and down. It's kind of like it's not as high as other guys. So I think, I don't think all that's controlled by me, but at the end of the day, that's what they look at. So I think that's part of it. And then just like you said, being consistent, showing my willingness to block, just improving in that space and continue to make plays. I've heard really good things so far. I think for a lot of teams, they're kind of just like curious about me. Like they're like, why, did you only have 500 yards? Why did you only have 30 catches? Did you do something? Da, 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 da. And I think sometimes like they just try to ask questions to get to know you, maybe try to rattle you, maybe try to see what your answer is going to be. So I think I've just done a good job of kind of just trying to just tell them like, I'm the same, dude that's been here for the last 5 years. And, I got my opportunities. And I tried to make the best of them. And, I'm here. I'm at where I'm at for a reason. And I've been put here. And obviously, like I said, for a reason. And I just think that for me, the biggest thing is just telling them, like, I'm going to be able to come in, be willing to do anything, whether it's special teams, help on the offense, or do whatever.
And being that you were so versatile in college, like I'm sure that's something that intrigued teams, right? Is there a specific role that they see for you, or are they kind of just loving the fact that you can line up everywhere? They want that for you on their team. Like what's that sort of like, that conversation?
Yeah, I mean, like kind of like you said, like I think they kind of just see me in different places. Like I think probably the biggest thing is they can see that I can play special teams. I've had a couple people compare me to like Taysom Hill, but more tight end oriented. Like he was a quarterback, kind of converted tight end, but it's kind of the quarterback side. And I'm kind of the opposite. But I think just like that, just being versatile, being able to do anything. If they want to throw me a one-on-one ball, they can. If they need me to help block a DN or a safety, I can. If they need to send me back there a wildcat and get 1 or 2 yards, I can. So I think it's like I said, it's kind of just been a bunch of stuff and a bunch of stuff kind of compiled together. But I think at the end of the day, the versatility is kind of what stands out.
And I know you have a couple meetings lined up, one of those being with the 49ers. You also met with them at the Shrine Bowl. And if I recall in another interview, you said that was a great meeting. So things are going well between you and the 49ers. Just hypothetically, how would it feel to, potentially be drafted by the Niners and get to learn under George Kittle's wing?
Yeah, it'd be really cool. I know a couple guys on the Niners. I know Tanner Mordecai, got to be with him at OU.
Right, yeah.
Obviously played with Ricky Pearsall. And then with George, I've been in Nashville training. We have the same trainer. So I got to work out with him a little bit, got to talk to him, got to ask him some advice and stuff. So it'd be awesome to be able to learn under him. I've got to kind of be in his space and see what he does and how he approaches everything like a pro. And it's been awesome. He has a great time. Like he's a great dude. Loves to have a great time, but he also is very focused and probably deserves to be paid the highest tight end. Obviously Trey McBride just got paid. And I think, if I want to remember correctly, I want to say, I don't remember what year he's on, but I know I think it's time for him to get a contract soon. If it's
he's due.
Deal. Yeah. So, I mean, he deserves it. I mean, he's been he's probably, if not the best tight end in the league, he's been one of the best every year since he's kind of got started. So, he definitely deserves it. He's a great dude. I love being around him. He's obviously giving me some good advice, and to learn under him it'd be awesome. Obviously he'd make me go to work, and he'd make me test my limits, but that's what I want at the end of the day. So it'd be a cool opportunity for sure.
Yeah, that's great, and hopefully get an invite to Tight End University. This off season as well.
Yeah, that'd be awesome.
Now, do you have any plans for the draft? It's coming up now in just a few short weeks, or like, are you still planning that out?
Yeah, plan to just be around some friends and some family. I come from a super small town, very tight knit community, so I owe a lot of people thank yous and just for the support they've always put in and stuff. So don't know, still don't know yet. Hopefully, somewhere in the 3 to 7 range, I'll get picked up. Obviously, I'd love to go before that, but obviously with just kind of being prepared. But I think at the end of the day, like whether I'm drafted in the first round or undrafted, I'm prepared to do whatever I need to do. My agent has a great plan for me, and me and him have been talking, and it's been good, like I said, good feedback. And I'm excited to be around some family and friends before rookie minicamp starts and all that stuff takes off. Because once that takes off, it's like I've heard it's like the longest year of your life. So I've been preparing for that. So I've been trying to hang out, relax, and be around my friends and family. Even though I'm still training a little bit, I'm still taking some time off just to be around them, enjoy it until like my big boy job starts. Because it's not you're not in school anymore. You're not
Right.
around in college. Like, this is real life. Your job. You're a grown man. You got to go into it every day, and you got to feed a family. So for me, it's feeding myself. So I'm excited to
For sure.
be a part of it and get started. But yeah, be around friends and family for the draft. I'm excited. It'll be a cool moment for sure if I am able to hear my name called. So that would be a memorable moment. You only get drafted once, so definitely gonna try and enjoy it.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's good to have those things like around you that keep you grounded, being around your family, because it is like a really long year. You go from your college season straight to training for the draft, straight to rookie mini camp after that. And then you got the
Right.
season. So, yeah, it is a lot. So, it's good to have those things around you that, help you keep your sanity a little bit in these busy times. But, Jalin, I appreciate your time. I have one last question for you. Always on my interviews with this one. What is a team? What is a fan base getting both on and off the field with Jalin Conyers?
Off the field, I think you're getting like a goofball. But I like to have a good time. And at the end of the day, football's fun. It's kind of something I live by. Like, the day I stop playing football will be the day my body can't take it anymore, or I just stop having fun. I've been playing football since I was 3 years old. I've had a ball in my hand since I was like 1. So it's been something that I've always had in me. It's in my blood. It's always been in my brain. When I was 9 years old, I was not planning on being an accountant. I was planning on being a pro football player. So, or a pro athlete. So,
Yeah.
now that I'm here, the opportunity's there. I definitely want to go out and grab it. Like I said, like, I go out and have fun. I like to help the community. Obviously, just want to be around good people, have a good time, be in a good place where I can go have fun, go eat at cool places, go play golf, all that stuff. So that's off field. On field, a competitor, dude that'll go up and get it, and a dude that wants to win at the end of the day. Whether it's catching one pass for 2 yards to win the game or catching 30 passes and winning a game, which I don't doubt that'll ever happen, but that'd be awesome.
You never know.
Yeah, you're right. You never know. So just turns out I'm a competitor, love to play football, want to come in and help a team win, and do whatever I can to help the team be successful and hopefully make a name for myself. And who knows? Maybe if I work hard enough, I'll be wearing a gold jacket someday. You never know. So obviously, my goal is to just get in the league and make a difference. But obviously, everyone has that dream of putting on that jacket and being remembered. So.
Well, with the mindset that I've just gathered in just 30 minutes of talking to you, I could tell you're made of the right stuff. You could definitely get that if you wanted, Jalin. So definitely going to be rooting for you. Best of luck, not just this next month, but way beyond that as well. Hopefully it's with the Niners, but any team you end up with, I'll be rooting for you, man. So
yeah, that'd
thank
be
you
awesome.
so
Thank
much
you
for
so
your
much.
time.
Thank you so much for having me. I really do appreciate it.
Yeah, appreciate you. Appreciate everyone that tuned in. Make sure you guys like this video if you haven't yet. Make sure you subscribe to the channel because there will be plenty more prospect spotlight interviews just like this one. But for now, have a good rest of your night, folks. Peace.